So I guess I'm just gonna get started. Hopefully you watched the hardware intro slash overview video. If not, this is a slight modification of the 135, the $135 NAS killer build, really designed to have 8 to 10 bays, compete with like QNAP and ReadyNAS and Synology, like off-the-shelf units, and this one's got about 5,000 pass mark. You can go all the way up to 6,000 if you do the processor upgrade to X3470. But we got 12 gig of RAM, a Supermicro X8 SI6-F. The archive of the stream will be up not immediately after, but it will be up within a couple days. The X8 SI6-F. The 6 means that it has onboard SAS. It has a LSI 2008 SAS, which can be flashed to IT mode, which is great for FreeNAS, great for storage spaces if you're going to use Windows. And it's socket 1156, so what I would call pretty old. It's not, I mean, it's still like the i7 series, you know, like first, second gen i7 series. I guess it's second, let's see. Yeah, second gen i7, but we're going to be using a Xeon. It's equivalent to an i7. It's 4 cores, 8 threads, and yeah, not much to say. It's only 2 channels, even though it's 6 DIMMs, so you have 2 primary channels, and then, 2 primary and then 4 secondary channels, 2 for each. You have 2 PCI Express for adding, you know, SATA or SAS ports through HBAs. If you want to add 10 gig E, which is really all I would add to this build, use one of these slots for 10 gig E and direct connect to the server. But the customer, or I guess the client slash customer that I'm building this for, he wants to do RAID 1 with the 6 3TB drives. So, yep. And then we got a 2 gig 6 of RAM. This is the Intel X3450. This one goes for about $18 or $19 on eBay usually. Socket 1156. It's a great little processor. And then in the box down here, we have the hard drives, a couple tools, the power supply, which I haven't opened yet, a backup power supply, the heatsink, and 2 8 gig flash drives. So the plan is to install the FreeNAS installer onto one of these, and then install from the installer onto the other one. And then when we're done with this one, wipe it and then mirror this one to this so that you have a mirrored boot. And since this one has 2 USB onboard, we can do all of it inside the case. Now, unfortunately, which I didn't notice until earlier today, it has dual NIC, but the metal bracket on the bottom of the first one here is broken, and it's marked with red, so I guess it came that way marked with red. There was no indication in the auction that it was that way. It still functions though, so I don't know. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just going to use this one. And then this one here is for IPMI, which we're actually going to use later. We're going to set up and use, and I'll show you how to use the IPMI. It's a really, really handy thing to have. So if you're looking at Supermicro motherboards, any motherboard that ends in -F has IPMI. And it's pretty much the same between all the boards, but it's worth maybe $5 to $15 extra if you see one without and one with. I would go for it. It's always useful to have. but I'll go over that later. So I guess we can get right down to it. I'm going to be doing most of the building outside of the case as much as I can. Probably going to boot it, and I don't know whether I'll install everything outside of the case. I guess we'll see when we get there. So yeah. What's the all-in price for this config? Hard drives and everything? I think outside of the labor and like, you know, I'm charging them for software setup cost, hardware testing, stability testing, things like that. Outside of that, I think it was around $550. I only paid $48 for this motherboard. If you go look up this motherboard on eBay, you'll only find ones that are like, you know, quote, brand new, and they're like $250, $300. That happens a lot, especially with used parts. But there's a lot of motherboards that are socket 1156 Supermicro boards. They have different features, but you can still find them for pretty cheap. If you look in the hashtag Tech Deals channel, there's a combo that has an X3470, which is nicer than this, has 8 gig of RAM, and it's the X8 SIL. I think it's $75 or best offer. And I actually bought one of those for $60. I offered the dude $60. He immediately accepted it. And it also comes with a heatsink. So that's kind of hard to beat. So yeah. So first thing, we're gonna install the processor. I hope this isn't too basic for some of you guys. It might be a little bit boring, but I know a lot of people are gonna watch this who have never built anything before. So I'm not gonna take a whole lot of time doing everything, but I might explain it a little bit more in detail than some of you need. So this black cover here is not actually part of the socket. It's just a protective cover. You don't have to take it off before you install the processor. It's actually better to install the processor, close the lid, and the processor itself will actually force the cover off. We're going to take the retention arm, push down, and pull away from the socket. Lift it up. If you push it down, the whole thing flips up. Now, there's two ways to look at this processor. You can look for the gold triangle in the corner, which is the really old school way of doing it. But with these newer Intel chips, there's actually notches on one side of the processor, and they're on the right side here. And you can look in the socket, there's a notch there, and a notch there. And to me, that's just a little bit easier because there's a lot of gold contacts and stuff on the top. There's a gold circle there, there's a gold triangle. So the triangle on the board is that white little triangle right there. And the socket is actually cut at an angle there. But all you have to do is line up the little notches, and we're just going to set it down gently, and you don't even have to push it in. You can just let it sit there under its own weight. And we're just going to close the lid and make sure, I don't know what it is, just like a little fork goes underneath this stud here when you're closing it. And just continue to push the arm down, and you heard that little pop, and that was the cover coming off. Now, if you ever buy a new motherboard or a motherboard that has a warranty, you better send it back with one of these on it, otherwise they will deny your RMA harder than like anything. They'll just be like, nope, you get no warranty. So don't lose this. Put this in the original box, or you know, whatever. Hell, you can even order these off of eBay, like a 10-pack for like $2. So if you lose one, save yourself the hassle, buy one, put it on, and then send it back. I think I want to do the CPU cooler next. It honestly doesn't matter. Like, this low-level stuff really do the CPU first, then you can do the RAM or the CPU cooler. Just because we're working on the CPU, I think I'm going to do the CPU cooler next. So let me grab the box for that. So in my original build post, I have the X8 SIL recommended, and that version of the board didn't have a backplate attached to it, which is normal for this socket. For 1156, 1155, 1150, 1151, the consumer boards don't have a backplate attached. Lots of Xeon boards have metal backplates that are semi-permanently affixed to them. And I'll show you that here. You can see a little bit through here. There's the screw holes, the studs popping up here. And then on the back, this center part's normal, but this part here is glued down with the most intense glue. And I wasn't gonna mess around with like you can get it off if you really have to, but like why? Just buy the right CPU cooler, and it won't be an issue. So I recommended one of the stock regular Intel heatsinks with the push pins for the other build, and it'll work, but it won't work with this because there's nowhere to push the pin through. So I got this Dynatron 92mm. It's a big like aluminum slug with a copper base. There's no heat pipes or anything like that. This will be more than adequate to cool this, but it comes with these nice screws that thread directly into the box. They thread directly into the back plate. It's just something you want to keep in mind. So nothing as far as the mounting holes are exactly the same pattern, but just something to keep in mind. This guy is really easy to put on. Oh, I need my thermal paste. So whenever you have the stock Intel coolers come with thermal paste pre-applied. This one doesn't. It does come with thermal paste in the box, but I'm a huge fan of G-Lid GC Extreme. This is the best thermal paste you can buy that's non-metal, non-conducting. It's also not too expensive, but it's more expensive than like Arctic MX5 or whatever the Arctic Silver MX5, MX4, whatever the really common stuff is. But it kicks its ass. It's so good. So yeah. Hopefully that'll keep the temps low, keep the fan speed pretty low. It's going to use about, maybe that's a touch more than I wanted to use, but it's not a big deal. Always check the bottom of your heatsink. Make sure there's no stickers or anything you have to remove. They put this on to just protect the base from getting scratched and all oily. And also try not to touch that. So the wire comes off here. And we want the wire to reach, usually the CPU fan headers up here somewhere. But it looks like on this board we only have regular fan headers, so we're going to do fan 1, which is right here, fan 2, fan 3, fan 4 is down here, and that's it. So we're going to put it into fan 1, and I think if we put it this way, yeah, it'll reach. So the trick is to, if you want to manage your cables really well, if I put it this way, you notice that the cable is going to be like sticking out. So just kind of orient it where the cable will just reach, just barely reach. Which is just 2 turns to the left. Yep, that'll reach just fine. So we're going to take our take our heatsink screws. Now I should be able to do this with my hand just to get it started. Just a little bit. And do that on each side. Now if you guys can't see anything that I'm doing, just tell me to pause for a second and I can turn it around as needed. So I did one on one side and I did directly across diagonal, and I just very lightly screwed them in. And the goal is to try to put even mounting pressure. You know, it's like taking wheels, or you know, like when you take your wheels off your car and you put them back on, you kind of want to do a cross pattern as best you can so that there's equal pressure and it lines up correctly. Alright, so now that they're just about, I'm going to try to tighten them finger tight as much as I can. They have these huge springs on them which applies pressure and pushes the heatsink down. But I won't be able to screw them in very much with my hands. So I'm going to go ahead and take my screwdriver. Do a little bit on one, do a little bit across the one, and just kind of go in a cross pattern. Do the screws go the other side of the motherboard, or is it pushing the top of the motherboard? The back plate pokes female ends, like the receiving end, through the board, and they just kind of sit there, and these go through that part. I don't think they actually go through all the way. And so this one's nice because you can't actually over tighten these. They will just stop when it's completely tight. So I'm just going to do a quick once around, and that's it. So now we have a perfectly mounted heatsink, and this wire should just, barely reach. Yep. Now you can kind of take the wire, and there's a little bit of a gap between the stud and the cooler itself, and just kind of fish it through through there. That shouldn't go anywhere. Yeah, the guy that bought this, he bought the Hitachi 3TB drives. They weren't on sale, and now I know they're on sale. I don't know whether it's, whoa, hey Mr. Camera, what are you doing? Glitching out. I'm gonna turn my light down a little. I wonder if that's messing with the exposure. The guy that bought this, start over. The guy that bought these Hitachis, he paid $50 per 3TB, and I know they're on sale now, or at least they were a couple days ago, at $42 per 3TB. So you can get a, you know, like a better deal overall, but really the price just fluctuates on a lot of these things. So buy them when you can, buy them when they're on sale, buy them as you need them. But yeah, so this heatsink is really well attached now, and you can kind of semi-safely pick it up just by this, and it's very sturdy on here. I do like these metal back plates a lot. I don't think there's really a downside to them. You just kind of have to kind of watch and make sure you're buying the right cooler. So we got 6 sticks of RAM, 6 DIMM slots. I'm going to start with the one that's hardest to get to first, which is the one closest to the cooler. The blue slots are the primary slots, so if you're running only 2 sticks, you're going to start in the 2 blue slots and then work your way away from them. So you would start here and here, and then just go bam, bam, as you add more down the road. But since we already have all 6, we're just gonna fill them all from the heatsink all the way out. And with RAM, DDR3 is actually kind of interesting. The key, which is the gap right here, is only slightly offset. With DDR4, I think it's even more offset, so it's kind of easier to tell which side is which. But it won't let you put it in backwards. You can see the keys offset by like about 1 inch. So we're gonna take it on this side first. And a lot of people put in RAM, I think, the wrong way, which I think is the wrong way. It's really simple. Just set it in the slot. On the shorter side of the key, push down on the top of the stick until the white part clicks in. This will click in on its own. Do the same thing on the opposite side. You heard that click? That's it. You don't even have to push these in. A lot of people, when they're new, they have the RAM seated correctly, and then they try to push down like this and push in the clips at the same time. Don't do that. That's a good way to just not seat your RAM correctly. Just clip, clip. I always do the shorter side first because it's the side closest to, it just makes it easier. I can't tell you how many sticks I've put in. All right, you can see these are all perfectly lined up. You can push on them. They move just a tad, but I mean, they're not, they're just exactly the way they should be. Are you snoring? All right. We're pretty much done. The hard part is done. So for those of you that are like, oh my God, building a computer is so hard. I know that took probably, let's see, it's 6:53 now. That means I've been officially streaming for 23 minutes, which means this probably could have taken me less than 10 minutes not talking. So yeah, now we can, what I want to do, what you should always do, you should test it outside of the case, because you're going to kick yourself if you put it in the case, nothing works, and you have to take it apart. It's just a pain in the ass to take it apart while it's in the case. You might as well just put it on your desk, plug the power supply in, plug the power supply in the wall, and test it. You're not going to hurt anything. Just do it. I have my tester power supply already out. The good power supply is in a box. I haven't even opened it yet. This is my beater. We'll just use this guy. And yeah, we're just going to use the onboard VGA like Faultline said. It is going to be a server, and since we're running FreeNAS, we're going to do everything through the web GUI. You'll still be able to see stuff through the VGA, but it's nothing what I would call functional. It's nothing that you're going to be like interacting with on a daily basis. So once you get this thing up and running, turn it on, shove it in a closet, make sure it's got power, Ethernet, make sure it has enough circulation as far as airflow goes, and then that's pretty much it. And you can just do everything through the web. For the power supply, the only thing that you need to get this thing running, you need your 24-pin ATX, and this board uses an 8-pin EPS or an 8-pin CPU connector. Let me find that on the squid here. That's this guy. So here's an 8-pin connector. This is the wrong 8-pin connector. This is PCI Express 8-pin. You can tell it's PCI Express because it says PCI Express on it. Not all of them say that, but it's 6 plus 2-pin. So you have 6 here and 2 here, and they come together and it's 8-pin. And it looks like it's right, and it might even fit, to be honest. Cursory glance, I don't know, it's pretty close. But don't use this because your board probably won't boot, and you might risk damaging your board. So this is our 8-pin. It says CPU on it. Again, they're not all labeled, but this one's 4 plus 4, and right now it's together, but you can just pull it apart. So you have 4 on this side, 4 on this side. That's what you want to look for. Let's do the big guy first. It's a little bit harder. You have a little latching piece on this side, and there's a little nub on the one side of that. You just kind of put it on one side and just kind of rock it back and forth. It may or may not click. I don't think this one will, because okay, I did a little. This power supply's seen better days, but it works. And then the same thing with this. There's a little tab on one side and a little arm that kind of goes over and catches it. All right. Here's my VGA. I'm not even gonna bother screwing this in because that's how little we will be using it. Is there a power cord down here? Make sure your power supply is turned off. All right, let me take a look at the stream real quick. Yeah, Bird of Night. I have the link in the description for the whole parts list. It's just slightly modified. Dark Underdog says, just wanted to say thanks. 350 build server working great. I had to add an extra fan to blow over the north bridge, and all was golden. Sweet. That's awesome. All right. So power supply plugged in. I need my keyboard. Oh, I've decided I'm going to do this the absolute right way. All the stuff I have in my personal server collection, they're just as is. I didn't update the BIOS. They just worked, and I was like, you know what, screw it. Everything's fine. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 revisions behind because I can check once I booted in to my OS. I can check to see what revision it's running, but I'm not like super concerned about that. But I do want to show you guys how to update the BIOS. And on this one, it's important that we need to update the SAS controller, the LSI 2008. We need to update that to version P20, which is the latest version. And also it needs to be in IT mode for FreeNAS to work properly. FreeNAS wants direct disk access. Say that 10 times fast. It doesn't want to use RAID mode. It wants all the RAID is going to be through software through FreeNAS. So yeah, we're going to update that. We're going to update the BIOS. That should take all of 10 minutes or so. Do you want to turn this on? VGA, power, mouse and keyboard. So I use these Logitech unifying receivers a lot because I have these all-in-one keyboard mouse, like, you know, trackpad and keyboard things. I like to put them on these extensions because they're so tiny. I forget. I can't tell you how many of these things I have shipped to people. They say like, what's this Logitech thing sitting in my computer? I'm like, fuck. So yeah, this is so I don't lose it. All right. There's only 2 USB in the back, but there's 2 in here. There's also USB header here and here, so there's potential you can add 4 more ports through like a expansion card. But again, it's FreeNAS. You're not going to be using USB. So I'm going to hit the switch on the power supply. This might turn on, it might not. And hopefully we'll see video on the monitor there. I don't know what the setting is, whether it will turn on. Doesn't look like it. Okay. So right here, this is all of the front panel connectors. And the very bottom right 2, if you jump those with a piece of metal like a screwdriver, that should be the power. I think the 2 right next to it are the reset button. So let's try it. Cool. Hopefully that fan will turn down. Move this light. It's just not in everybody's face. Cool. I did test the processor in a different board, but I didn't test this actual board yet. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna say reboot and select proper boot device. Well, there's nothing plugged in, so I'm just gonna shut it off with the power switch. I'm gonna go over here. Is this the right one? Or is this the right one? One of these has the SAS controller firmware, and I think it's this one. And it has the updated BIOS on it too. So I'm going to plug this into one of the USB ports on board. I don't want to use that one; it's too close to the this thing. Turn this back on. Grab the keyboard. Oh, it did turn back on. Okay. So for this board, F11 is the this is the boot menu. Oops. I think I hit F12 on accident, which is network boot. Alexa, go away. That clicking sound is it saying stop pressing buttons. So I can boot from the... So I used a tool called Rufus on Windows, and I made a FreeDOS boot disk, and I loaded files onto it with FreeDOS. And what I loaded onto it was the updated BIOS version, and also the LSI firmware. So I need to look up the guide on flashing this thing correctly. Supermicro X8. Okay, it says extract to a DOS bootable device. Already did that. Boot to the DOS prompt. Already did that. Type ami.bat and then the BIOS name. The BIOS name is x8sie2.627. Okay. So we'll do ami dot bat x8 x8 sie2.627. See, it comes up with the AMI firmware update utility. And then whatever you do, make sure your system's stable before you do this, because you don't want it shutting off while it's doing this, because you could brick your board. Just whatever you do, don't turn it off while it's doing this. And it might take a minute or so to do this. And then it should restart. Oh look, Man Bear Pig's back. Fucking finally. Oh, this would be so helpful if I actually had my GoPro monitor where I could see it. No, not breaking the board, bricking the board, as in like all it's worth is its weight. Even then, it doesn't really weigh much. So the fan that dude added, program ended normally, all done, all okay, and okay. So you don't have to do anything. Control Delete at this screen will just reset the computer. So that's what I'm gonna do. Well, it turned on, so it worked. That's my litmus test of whether it worked or not. Oh, beeped. CMOS checksum bad. Okay. Version 1.2a. Oh, I guess that just means it reset the CMOS. So, version 1.2a, Intel Xeon X3450 at 2.67 gigahertz. Physical count 1. There's one processor. There's 8 logical processors, 12 gig of RAM. Speaking of refills, thank you. Yep. Are you watching and that's why you knew to get me one? Maybe. All right, I'm okay with that. Fuck yeah. All right. Oh, okay. Where are we? BIOS. Let's see. Is the time correct? The time is correct. The date is correct. We're gonna go down to SATA and floppy config. Make sure the floppy is disabled because who the fuck uses floppies? We're going to configure the SATA as AHCI. Timeout, it's fine, you don't need to worry about that. PCI PNP config. onboard SAS option ROM, make sure that's enabled. Onboard VGA we're already using. Hardware health, you can go in here. And right now it says CPU temperature is low, which means it's lower than it cares about, which means that we mounted this thing correctly and it's good. The fan's running at 1600 RPM right now on balance mode. I guess we're gonna take that down. Let's see, it says full speed is 100, performance is 70%, balance is 50%, energy savings 30%. Let's take it down to energy savings, see if that makes it any quieter. And then I'm gonna boot back into the DOS USB, and we're gonna flash the HBA to IT mode. The only downside about these keyboards is I have to hit function F11 to get it to press F11. Hello? Oh, sounds like someone's in voice chat. Maybe I should unmute myself. Hello? 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 Okay. Guess the line is... Oh. Get out of here. Maybe I should have looked this up. Let's see. Supermicro X8 SI6-F. Supermicro is the website. If you learn how to navigate it, it is amazing. But it took me about like 6 years. Hey, what's up? Update, let's see. Download the latest drivers. What's up? With what? Life. How are things looking on the stream? Okay. We'll mute your TV then. Nobody else is talking. It's just you. And then you can hear me talking. Alright, so in the IT mode, oh god, what did I just open? Flash instruction.doc. Please copy all files from DOS folder to bootable USB disk. Okay, I already did that. So we're gonna cd slash it slash DOS. Don't remember where I put it. smc 2008.t.bat. Okay, so the LSI Corp /flash utility came up. It's going to take a little while to do this, I think. Hey, I got a subscriber. Dude, like I was afraid I was gonna not have power for this stream because we got one of those nasty ass thunderstorms probably like an hour before I started streaming. I didn't lose power then, but we had like a tornado warning and all that. Oh yeah, this fan is running so much quieter now. That's great. I mean, you guys can probably hear that just a little bit of a click from the motor, but if once that's in the case, you won't hear it. So you know I'm using the N400 for this, right? Hello? I said I'm using the N400 for this. Yeah. Okay, so it says firmware version 20, the NV data, I think that's just the BIOS. And then successful, I'm not doing it. It's beginning, it's like putting the firmware on, resetting it. This controller that's on here, these two ports, would normally, where is it? It's down here. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. We're going to be more careful with the headphone cable. So, these two ports, exactly the same thing as this controller here. This is actually an IBM M1015. And as far as I know, it uses the exact same controller. It uses the LSI 2008. But this is like $100. This whole board was $48, and it comes with this. And then you can put a processor in it, and you can put another one of these in this. Get out of the trash can. Oh, okay. So it finished. It says enter the remaining 9 digits for the SAS address. I've done this before, and last time I did this, I was like, where the hell do I find the SAS address? Of course, it is, excuse me, it is directly on the actual SAS ports. There's a sticker covering them, and you can actually like take a screwdriver and like fit it and like touch the bottom. It's weird. But anyway, it's there. So let's see. This one's 0004 Bravo 6800. And then enter. Hi, Mr. Kitty. Finish processing command successfully, exiting SAS2 flash. Cool. So that's it. So we finished the hardest hardware part, we finished the hardest software part. Now that everything's fully updated and it's working, we're going to put this in the case. But really, we're going to prep the case first and then put all this in. I'm just going to turn this off for now. It's probably going to be easier to put the hard drives in first and the power supply in first and then put in the board. So when you put your hard drives in your N400, did you put anything in your N400 yet? Everywhere Pig? Did you put Did you put drives in your N400 yet? Did you just use the screws that came with the case? Hey, can you move us all to general voice? Just click and drag. Hey Garrett, thanks for tuning in. I just had the live stream channel locked out for for non-mods. Just I don't know why, but we can be in here. And if you don't want to hear me through here, you can just mute me here and then listen to me on the stream. But there should be like maybe a 6 or 10 second delay. So anyway, case, hard drives are in here, power supply is in here. This is a good power supply. Let me get all this stuff off the desk. You know what? Yeah, I guess we'll do the FreeNAS install and stuff after let's get that out of the way first. I don't want to set this thing right on the carpet, but put it on top of my foam block. Need to use flash drives later. Thermal paste can go away. What's up, cool dude? Some good ass water. Stay hydrated, my dudes. What are you doing? Do you really think you're gonna do that? You're gonna be in the way. Okay. You didn't eat yet, did you? Why don't you go eat? It's dinner time. Alright, let's go. Come on. Oh. Man, I can't imagine how much noise these wires are making on my GoPro mic. I hope it's not too bad. I feel like I'm like plugged into the Matrix or something. Okay, this is not working anymore. What happened? Harry, I can't play with you right now, bud. He doesn't have a voice. He just has a squeaker. Psst, psst. Also, I keep saying buy a magnetic parts tray. Like, I have a ton of them, and I have one, but I always lose it. So don't be like me. Use one of those. They're both open, dude. What are you talking about? Because I don't open them all the way. I open them like half the way. I am, in fact, one of those people. So unfortunately, this case has USB 3.0. Can't use USB 3.0 with the hardware we have. I don't even know if there's honestly a point for FreeNAS. I'm just gonna tuck that behind the motherboard tray there. Here's front USB, which we will actually use. Again, not that you'll really ever use it with FreeNAS, but it's there. HD audio. Same story there. Tuck that thing away. Just get it out of the way. And then we're left with hard drive LED, which we're gonna have like, I mean, I guess not we, but the dude's gonna have 14 hard drives. So I can't imagine that this hard drive LED will do anything but be solid on. Not gonna use that. Power LED, this thing is gonna be always on. Reset switch. Never reset this thing by the reset switch, because that's a good way to lose data. And then we have the power switch, which is the only thing we're gonna use. So we got power and USB. These I will cable manage out of the way. I'm just gonna tuck them right now. Now this is gonna be hard because everything in here is black. All right, let's get the hard drives. Mr. Keyboard can go there. So you don't remember how you mounted your hard drives, huh? One hard drive. Two hard drives. Yeah, it's because you haven't transferred any data to it, so. Man, it's so great having a NAS with no data on it, and it never turns on. Let me tell you. 4. Oh no, that's 5. Can't count. 6. Okay. So. Did you mount one on the bottom, or did you start at this, did you mount one through the bottom of the case? What kind of help are you, man? Since we're on our side here, I'm just going to line them all up. Okay, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna do that either. I only have 6 drives, so looks like I will. Well, I don't know. Will I? I wonder why it didn't come with, you know, like the toolless adapters for all of them. Like, yeah, it only comes with 2. I mean, did they really save that much money by not including them? Like, what did they save? Like $1? Okay, well, I just removed one of the plastic things because I wanted to do them all with screws. Where did I put the parts bag? The SATA cable's out. Holy shit. I forgot these did that. Where's the JDM Watt special edition of this case with all of the hard drive mounting things? That's what I want. It costs $3 more, and it comes with 12 extra plastic hard drive mounts. These bags, if you open it the wrong way, screws will just go everywhere. So it looks like we have to put our own standoffs in. That's fun. So these little round... What did you just hear? Me putting screws on the disc? Oh. So the rounded ones are the ones we're gonna use for the hard drives. Was it as loud as that dude getting banned? Yeah. So we're gonna use all 4. There's 2 screws on each side of these. Why? You think? Possibly silly question, but with that many drives cohabitating so closely, is overheating not a concern? Well, I will show you in a minute. Are you helping? Don't do it. Now it's not a good time for desk time. Yeah, so we're gonna take this back fan. Well, I don't know if we'll use this back fan, but I have a couple other 120s I'm gonna put in here. There's already one in the front, and then from the looks of it, we could probably add another one down here. I wonder if we can add another one up here or not, but we'll look. Oh yeah. I don't like using fans on the sides. Well, it's just, I mean, I like my airflow front to back, or like, you know, in one direction. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work, but just it's kind of old school. I mean, what irritates me is like when you have a windowed case and it comes with a gigantic like 120 or 140 millimeter fan on the side of the window, and you're like, that looks terrible. Luckily, the Enthoo Pro, for example, doesn't have a fan on the side, because it would really detract from the way the case looks. All right, so we got all the screws there. Oh man, it's really heavy now with all these drives in. That really changes the profile of the case. Cooler Master, they're called thumb screws. Don't tighten them more than a thumb can tighten them. I mean, you can put fans on the back side of the panel too. For the drives. I could see how this is a pain in the ass. Yeah. You what now? $5.25. Right. Am I using the right screws for the hard drives here? I feel like there's not enough. Well, I'm using... Oh wow, that is really not going to show up. I might only do 3, so like I'll do 1 on the back side and then 2 in the front for each drive. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It doesn't seem... The effort doesn't seem worth... Oh, that's not... I mean, it's the same threading screw, but it's not the right screw. Use a different one. I suppose side fans can be useful for hot GPUs, but why don't you just buy a GPU that doesn't roast itself? Well, I don't think I cut out on stream. I might have cut out to you. I said, Bird of Night said side case fans mess up the airflow, which is true. He said, but they're helpful with hot GPUs. And I said, just buy a GPU that doesn't roast itself. But I mean, I guess that's easier said than done for some people, because, you know, budget. Okay, so quick little, yeah, they're sturdy as hell with 3. Those other ones are going to be too much of a pain. Hello.
power LED, reset switch, power switch. We're going to take these cables and we're going to banish them to this side of the case. I feel like a dentist with these lights. So use this cable tie on the fan mount here. God, that's annoying. Okay. So they give you this little standoff extension thing for your screwdriver. And grab the motherboard. That's gone forever. I just dropped something and it just went off into the abyss. So it looks like we're using A, B, C, F, not E, D, oops, not G, A, B, C, D, not E, F, not G. We're using I, J, K now. Okay. So you just take your little brass standoffs, stick one of these guys in the Phillips adapter, and very carefully make sure it's vertical. Might help to get it started by hand. Otherwise, I mean, threading these things into a painted case is the worst experience ever. At least, honestly, with this case, at least they make you put your own standoffs in so you don't, like, if you put one in wrong, it's your fault. Whereas cases that come with like pre-installed standoffs, and people put in their motherboards, like, it's not working. I'm like, well, did you rearrange them? No. Oh, you mean the N2 Pro? Yeah. Yeah. That guy's not wanting to go in. I'm so thankful these lights are LEDs, because otherwise I would be sweating really, really badly. But even though they're LEDs, they're still really, really hot. I mean, not really hot, but I mean, just hot enough to be irritating. Oh, cool. Okay, so they came with. I'm gonna sit down for a second. So this case came with 2 standoffs that are like keeper standoffs. They have a little bit of a ledge on them, so it helps you put the motherboard in and just hold the motherboard there in the right spot so it doesn't slide around. I'm gonna attempt to put one at the top here where slot C is. I'll put the other one down at the bottom with L. Oh my god, I'm 1 standoff short because I dropped one. Alright, we're gonna find it. We are going to find it with... Yeah, sorry, I just threw my screwdriver. Light. Oh, I found it. Uh-oh. Oh, Mr. Standoff tool. So I threw the screwdriver down on the desk with the standoff tool on it, and that went flying. Even though I found the standoff. All right. So that's the last one. Stream will help you find it with the GoPro. It will be an interactive stream. Yeah, I don't think my GoPro is high enough resolution to find that. Oh, lovely. I forgot I bought a non-modular power supply for this. This shouldn't be that big of a deal. So, Mr. Power Supply, we are going to put the fan, not that this really matters, but there's a protective sticker. Okay. All right, fuck it.
Sticker's staying on. This case will allow you to put the power supply in either way. You can flip it the other way if you want, but I want the fan to be sucking air from down here and just going right at the back. I don't want it to use any of the warm air from these guys. And yeah. Before we go any farther, I want to take a look at, see what kind of cables this guy came with. Came with tangled cables. So we got 8-pin for CPU, 24-pin for motherboard, 3 SATA, Molex, PCI Express, and another 3 SATA. So we can, I do have SATA power splitters, but I'm just going to give those to the guy who gets this, and I'm just going to use the SATA power cables as they are without using any splitters. You know, I'm going to wait to do the SATA power. It looks like it might get in the way of the motherboard. Do you want the box? Unfortunately, I don't have an I/O shield for this board, but you don't need one. Huh? You don't need one. It's just unnecessary. What? Do they use the really fine threaded screws for the standoffs? No, it's okay. I'll figure it out. So everything you need to mount this is made only 6 SATA power plugs for 6 drives. If you use the splitters, how many would it be safe to use? I mean, it's a 500 watt power supply, and I'm pretty sure it's only one rail. I don't know. I mean, just use, I wouldn't do more than like 20 or 25 drives on whatever, on top of whatever system you have in here. Let's put it this way, it's not a concern. And if you have that many drives anyway, you wouldn't be considering this power supply, you'd be getting a nicer one. I mean, honestly, if you have if you only have 6 SATA and then you ran 1 splitter to each, that would be 6 times 4, which would give you 24. I think that would be reasonable. I'm just screwing in the motherboard through the standoffs right now.
And make sure that each hole has one standoff behind it. There's no extra standoffs behind the motherboard where there isn't a hole, because that would be very bad. Potential to short it out. I have lots of people coming into chat saying, why isn't my board booting? It's because you didn't arrange the standoffs correctly. It's okay. Usually it's not a big deal. Just rearrange them and then it boots. But I guess it has potential to be more serious than that, so do it right the first time. Top three up here are really hard to get to. Not hard to get to, but hard to see with the camera, especially. Just be careful not to over tighten them. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll have any room. No, there's no cable routing behind the motherboard, so you can't take these cables and go up and around and like behind the tray. So we'll have to do something either up here or sort of up and around this way. But we'll make it look nice. Alright, motherboard's in. So I figure, even though we've got 6 data ports, since we flashed the SAS controller, we might as well use that. That'll give us 8 ports and 2 extras, so there'll be 2 here, and then he'll have room for 2 more there. I think he said he has 4 2TB drives at home that he wants to throw in this once he gets it. So I'll take the data from those, put them on here, add those as another array. But we'll do the SAS cables now. I think we'll do the cables on this end on the motherboard first, then SATA power because it's closer, and then the SAS breakout cables to the drives. If you guys have questions or want to talk to me about something, it takes me a while to do things, but I can talk about other things while I'm doing it. There's not really a whole lot to say at this point. We're not doing anything terribly interesting. These are really long SAS breakout cables. I think they're 3 feet. But the top metal part goes where that little metal tab is. And they just click in. Click straight in. Usually. Yep. Oh, sorry about that. I just stretched my neck a little. What are the messages in the other channels saying? Anything? Yo, man bear pig. Oh, okay. We could do these power cables now. Here's the 8-pin CPU. adjust this guy a little.
I don't think this thing has much. Oh, you can go right in the corner up there. Okay. What's up, Bracken? Just want to say I appreciate you guys tuning in and dealing with all of the, I don't know, all of the first time streaming and especially live streaming from a head cam, and hopefully it's going well enough where you guys can get something out of this. Here's the 24 pin. Yeah, this is not going to have very much length. So what I figure is we'll tie off the extra at the bottom and keep it close to the board like that. Probably do the same thing with this one, not, to be honest. We can handle that later. Let's get the drives plugged in with power. I'm going to start with the top one and work my way down. No, I'm going to start with the bottom and work my way up because there's less room in the bottom. First one, second one, third one. So this is Molex and this is PCI Express. We're not going to be using either of those. Send them through. To the back side of the case for now. And we'll manage them back there. Get them out of the way. That looks cleaner already. And there's a little bit of slack from this SATA one. Pull that through too. And same thing with this SATA there. Now these guys, this is going to be an interesting adventure. So these are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4 for each. Not that it really matters, but for the sake of OCD, we'll start with port 0 and port 1 off of port 0. And then 2. 3. 4. And we'll do 1 and 2 off of this guy. Oh. 1 and 2. I'm not really sure what to do with these wires. I'm going to take them and push them underneath where the drive cages go.
try to pull the slack through back there. After I stand this guy up. Whew. Okay. Just do it quick. We'll cut the ends of these cable ties off later. Just gonna tie them down, make some room for myself. This looks like it's pretty twisted. Try to untwist this. What's up? Yo? What's up? There we go. just gonna clip some of these. These are the two extras, and there should be plenty of room for them to go wherever they need to go down there. But I will just take them. See if I can't kind of just tuck them there. Cool. Oh, thanks for reminding me. Now, hopefully the front of this looks pretty sick. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Really, I don't want to tie this down to the motherboard, or not to the motherboard, but tightly towards the motherboard, because if he wants to install expansion cards, I want it to be able to go around and kind of be flexible. This fan already has a grill on it, so I'm not concerned about it hitting there. Just kind of want to make sure it's together. Pro tip, if you want your cables to look nice, when you zip tie them, make sure they're tight all the way, but also just turn the end of the zip tie away from the thing, and you just have this nice little. And if you see separation like this, that's not right. What I will probably do is see if I can bunch that more like that. Alrighty. Single power switch goes there. How much is it? How much of a pain is it to get the front panel off of this guy? Did you take the front panel off yet, Man Bear Pig? Okay, I figured as much. Yeah, a lot of cases are like that, especially the cheaper ones. But I wasn't gonna Wasn't gonna waste my time looking the manual for it. That is how you cable manage. This guy's gonna be, I don't know what I'm doing with this yet. There it is. Yeah. Hey, like, I don't got time to mess around here. Alright, so fan wise, this guy's covering the top three. We need to get another fan in the front. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that fan out from the back, put it here, run the system with just these two right now. I'll figure out my options for a back one later. This is gonna cool just the processor. The rest of the board doesn't really need cooling. We got a fan with a power supply. I'm gonna run it open chassis, kind of as is, just to get things up and running. And I'd like the airflow in the front to be matched, so that, God, that looks nice. Look how nice this looks. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Oh, there goes a fan screw. Oh, there goes another one. Let's see, it's 8:20, so that means it's been an hour and 50 minutes since the stream officially started. I guess I didn't really start building until about 6:50, so we're about an hour and a half. About an hour and a half in. That's not too bad. Did all of our hardware testing. That works. We updated the BIOS and the SAS controller. That's all good. I'd say that's pretty good. And it's going to take all of 5 minutes to put FreeNAS on a flash drive. So have you installed FreeNAS yet, Bear Pig? Have you installed FreeNAS yet? Oh. But you did it in like, what, a VM or something, right? Did you do it in a V? Huh? Okay. So, for those of you that always put your fans on backwards, or I tell you that you put your fans on backwards, and you're like, how do you know? Looking at the fans, the side with the frame, 99% of the time is the exhaust, and the side that's open is the intake. And if you have a heatsink, the fan usually blows air through the heatsink downward in this case. If you have, like, for example, a block heatsink and then a fan in front, the fan will blow air through the heatsink towards the back.
Just got one more screw for this fan. Just gonna plug these fans in, then we're gonna install FreeNAS. Get the web client up and running, which should only take a couple of minutes. And then we're gonna do everything from the web, and then the head camp's gonna go away so you can put your barf bags away after that. I will cable manage the fans later. I'm just gonna plug them in so they work. They might be loud. I don't really know. Don't really care, to be honest. At least not right now. Just need to keep the hard drives cool. Good. It's done. You could probably rig the stream so the Discord voice chat feeds to the rest of the stream viewers. Oh, shit. Why didn't you say so? I have it muted. Wait. Wrong thing. You probably just heard an echo there for a second. Holy crap. That sucks. At least we haven't been using the Discord voice chat very much, so it'll only sound like I'm talking to myself for about an hour. Parts, extra parts. Really A+ managed cables. This is fine for now. Okay, so I'm gonna plug it in. I'm going to plug in the VGA. Just get it up and running on. Oh, EVGA, that's bad. Don't sell me a power supply that's already turned on. Come on, man. That's not good. Alright, so turn this guy. That 2-second delay before it turns on always just makes my heart just stop. I'm like, what did I forget? What did I do wrong? Come on, Mr. Monitor, show something. Okay. Be quiet. Be quiet. These aren't too loud. They're running full speed, but they're not too loud. I can definitely feel the air coming through on this side of the drive, so that will keep them adequately cool. I don't think he'll complain about that amount of noise. I mean, to be honest, the hard drives are louder than the fans are, so not really much we can do there anyway. Reboot and select proper boot device. Okay. Fine. Okay. I guess we're turning off the switch. Got my VGA cord tangled in my power here. Alright. So we need our 2 8GB flash drives. We're going to make one of these into a FreeNAS installer for now. Then we're going to install onto the other FreeNAS or onto the other flash drive. And then we're going to wipe off the installer and then mirror that one to the this is just a cap. Don't need it. One flash drive. I think a 5-pack of these was like $12, $10. Oh. These things are very tiny.
Great. Plug them in down here on the board. You can't even see them. Look at that. So I'm going to use Windows to make this installer. Whoa, that was trippy. Let me see if I can create a scene with my just my desktop, so you can see what I'm doing for 2 seconds.
The fuck?
Okay, hopefully you can still hear me. Well, no, I know you can hear me, but hopefully the stream can still hear me, because I had to switch mics. My girlfriend's yelling at me, no! Okay. So, let's see. I'm going to use Rufus, which is a sweet little tool, to create a bootable USB for FreeNAS. So you want to do, it's automatically going to pick a flash drive if you have one plugged in. Otherwise, it's going to say no flash drive or no target or something like that. Select your FreeNAS ISO. I just use FreeNAS 11 U2 off of freenas.org, and just start. And just use the recommended settings. All device data will be destroyed. Okay. Oh my god.
Fucking cat.
No. Just my mess of wires just knocked a bunch of shit over. Are you literally just watching me?
I was reading my book, but now I finished the book.
Duh.
I have no idea what you're doing.
You have no idea what I'm doing? I'm not being basic enough for you?
I didn't mean it like that. I was reading my book, and so I missed a lot of it, and then I started watching again.
Wow. Okay.
I know how to put my fans on properly now.
Does it look different in here than it does through the screen? Or does it look about the same?
What do you mean?
Like through the stream? Like when you walk in here and you actually look at it, does it look about the same?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know how the lights were doing and stuff. Like I can only have a...
Looks pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. That means it's not like shit.
You had audio, like, never mind.
I had audio, like it cut out, right?
It sounded like you were talking to yourself, and then you said that it sounded like you were talking to yourself.
Yeah, because, so I just had my desktop audio muted. I just left it muted.
Right.
And I was talking to someone on Discord.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't hear them through the thing. But then I unmuted it. Now they can hear him.
Oh. So now the Discord audio is on the stream.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Yay, it's done. So that took 2 minutes and 28 seconds to make a installer.
And that's a
that's a USB 2.0.
That's a USB 2.0 flash drive. Flash drive's a little toasty.
Come on, Mr. Wire.
Come on, Mr. Wire.
Oh God.
Oh God. What is that horrific sound?
All right.
All right.
I don't know which one.
I don't know which one's which.
Just gonna plug
them both into the board. Grab my keyboard. Turn this guy on again.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. I didn't turn my other mic off. Sorry. Big sorry. Wait, did I fix it? Yeah.
Too many cables.
Not only too many cables, too many microphones. Oh fuck, I didn't plug the VGA back in. Man, it's all went downhill really quickly. Or did it? Wait, downhill's better, right?
Is it?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's easier, right? If you're going downhill, it's easier.
I mean, until you trip and break an ankle, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, but if you go uphill, what if you just have a heart attack and die?
Yeah, it depends when the end of the downhill is.
Alright, let's try this again. Ow. I may or may not have just stuck my hand into a fan, but it's okay. Going to attempt to press F11 to boot into one of the USBs. Yeah, sorry. The only reason there was an echo is because I switched back to the head cam, which was also putting in audio on like a half a second delay, and then I still had the Blue Yeti going, so I disabled the Yeti. Oh. It would help if I plugged in my keyboard. Wouldn't it? Sitting here pressing buttons on the keyboard, and the keyboard's not plugged in.
I'm so kind to my future self. Put things where I should find them. I guess we're doing thumbs up. Now we'll hit F11, and now it'll work, because I believe. Which one is it? Is it the first one or the second one? The second one. Holy shit, I got the right one. Alright, I'm gonna tilt the head cam up so you can see this. Alright, so the first option is install or upgrade. I'm gonna hit enter on that. Most of the drives should, let's see, we got 6 drives. I think the DA6 is the blank one. Enter your root password. Press cancel for no root password. That seems like a bad. That seems like bad practices. Build advice. We're gonna do BIOS. All right, so now it's installing the base OS. Now it's a good time for us to find some Ethernet cables. Here's one. Oh, feel another. Okay. I'm going to plug in the IPMI port, which is the very top one. Then I'm going to plug one into the non-broken one, which is the bottom one. And we're going to move back over here. And I'm going to attempt to pull up the IPMI window on the computer. Oh God. See Mr. Mike. Get this computer to come up. Alright, so bear with me. I'm going to switch sources. It's going to take me a second to switch the mic over. Hopefully there won't be an echo. And maybe I can take my head cam off for just a second because my forehead is hurting pretty badly. So just bear with me a second here. Alright, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. Oh, I'm gonna take this freaking head camera off for a second. Ooh, this is great. I no longer feel like an alien. Alright, so nod your head if you can hear me. So the IPMI interface can be accessed through the web, and your router should automatically assign a IP address to the IPMI. I took a step and assigned it an IP address. So no word from Discord yet. Oh, yeah, I didn't change the desktop audio settings, so you should still be able to hear Discord. So I already assigned it an IP address. The default IPMI login is admin all caps. Password is admin all caps. All right, so the cool thing about IPMI is that you can block off. Cool thing about IPMI is that you can remote control the entire computer. You can see VGA, you can do keyboard and mouse things, all via the web. Might just need to get the Java runtime environment. Might try it on Safari and see if it works there. Promise you this works. We'll just try doing the Java real quick. Usually if you hit cancel, it'll come up with the thing. Alright, so I suppose I have to quit out of both of these. Yeah, I'm sorry it's a little softer with the with this mic. There's not a whole lot I can do with. I already have it bumped up to like 140%. Really, Safari? Welcome to Macworld, where nothing works. Let's try it in Windows land. Safari quit unexpectedly. Oh, I'm sorry about this. I might just go back to the head cam and if I can't get this to work. But this would be a lot clearer if I can get this to work, so. It might be worth the couple minutes. What is wrong with Safari? Safari's having an aneurysm. So is Google Chrome. Okay. Appreciate you guys sticking with me this long. I know I've been streaming for a while. It's officially been streaming for 3 hours, but it's been like more like 2.5, you know, since I actually started building it. But I think we've been kind of on track. The builds, I mean, as far as the physical build, it's done. FreeNAS is installed. I just need to reboot, but I was gonna wait to reboot until I could hopefully see the monitor on here. Oh, I forgot there's a tool. So other cool things you can do from the IPMI, you can actually see, you know, like CPU temp, fan speed sensors, like they're all green. You know, fan 4 and 5 aren't plugged in. Chassis intrusion, I don't have that enabled, so it's going to show red. I don't know where the maintenance. Alright, while it's doing that, I'm just going to reboot the FreeNAS server. Maybe I can just... I don't think this overhead cam is doing a whole lot right now. Maybe I'll just point this camera at the monitor and see how it do. See, give me a second to adjust it. Huh, that's not too bad. I'll turn the monitor a little. Oh. Let's see, I don't know which USB port is which. I'm gonna take a guess. I have a feeling that was the wrong one. That should be the right one. We'll do normal. This is just the normal FreeNAS boot screen. I mean, every time you boot it up, it'll take a little while to boot. It'll take a lot longer than... use 2 different sized USBs for your own build. It'll be easy to tell which is which. Well, if you use different brands...
I was going to say 2 different brands would probably be easier.
That'd be even better.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of different brands floating around. I just wanted two identical ones for, you know. So the kind of annoying thing about FreeNAS is if you want mirrored USBs, the second one has to be larger than the first, or the exact same size. So if you buy two 8 gig USBs from different brands, it's highly probable, it's like a 50-50 chance whether it's larger or smaller by like 1 megabyte. And if it's 1 megabyte smaller, it won't work. It'll say it's too small. So it's best to buy them identical, or if you want a mirror, just buy one that's like one size up. Yeah, I mean, I should have installed from one of my other drives, but I always like how how it says this is gonna take a long time, and then it takes 2 seconds.
Okay, so not only did I assign the IPMI an address already, I assigned the LAN port an address. I just typed in the MAC address into my router and assigned it .21. So we don't really need the IPMI. It would be nice to get it working. I'll work on that a little bit later, but I'm gonna switch back to the Mac. Maybe I'll just do it through Windows because Mac is being weird, but I'll switch back to the other one, and then we'll do some of the web config. So this is not a virtual machine on the Mac. This is actually a virtual machine on my server. I'm just accessing through RDP on the Mac. So .20 is the IPMI interface. .21 is the FreeNAS interface. Hopefully it gets us there. It does. Holy shit, what did I make the password? Build advice. I'll get us logged in. Sure, save the password so don't forget. Language English. I have no idea what the dude's time zone is, but I'm gonna use my time zone. You can always change this later. I don't think I need to do this. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Install wizard, purpose, automatic. Okay. I don't want to do the wizard because that's the shitty way of doing things. So there's a lot of different things you can set up through FreeNAS. First, we're going to take a look at the system. The tabs up here mirror the tabs down here, but from my experience with FreeNAS 9, the tabs up here are the ones that you want to use. I'm going to let this pick its own address because when he gets it, it's going to pull from whatever he has. All of this you can leave default. The time zone I will change right now just so that time's right and things work properly. Boot is good. I'm gonna wipe this other flash drive on my main computer here. I'm gonna mirror the boot device. I'm just doing a quick format. It's not even worth showing on the screen. So you see boot volume condition healthy, size 7.4 formatted. It's only using 9% right now. Alright. As you can see, nothing's changed on the actual the monitor that's plugged in. This is all through the web. Alright. So I plugged in the other flash drive. Hopefully it shows. This looks a little bit different than FreeNAS 9. So, what? So you can set up email. Oh, you can actually use alert services now. That's kind of cool. You can use Slack, like Discord alerts and stuff. But you can set up email. So if your drives get too hot or overheat or anything like that, you can have send you an email or send it daily reports. To create the array, so we have 6 3TB drives. You just click on the storage tab. You hit volume manager. There it's showing it's showing our flash drive. So we'll get rid of that. So there's all 6 drives. Now we can pick our RAID level. If we want to do a mirror, that's a 6-play mirror, which is I guess super redundant. But Z3 would be 3 drives can fail before you have any serious problems. Z2 is 2 drives, Z1's 1 drive. Z1 will give us 13.6 usable, and we'll do that. And we'll call it main storage. No, I'm not going to use any caps. Main storage. You can enable encryption if you want, but it's going to take a lot more on your hardware to do that. So we're going to add the volume. What can I do? Alright, whatever, that's fine. My shift key isn't working through this. I don't know why. I'm going to blame Synergy. Now something's showing on the screen. It shows, I guess that was from, I'm trying to read it from here. That's from the flash drive being plugged in. But it'll tell you, like, when you unplug a keyboard or a flash drive or one of your drives showing failures and things like that. And there it's creating the array now. Alright, so the array's up and running. It's using a nominal amount of space just to, just to maintain the array. It's only using 18 meg. We haven't made any like what I would call data sets yet. So we can make as many data sets as we want. We can quota data sets. So say this is really your available right here, 12.6. So we'll make a new data set. We'll call this media. Go to advanced mode. You can say I don't want to use more than 10 terabytes for media. So we'll put it at 10T. You don't need to do anything special there. Just add a data set. And if you want to share this data set, you want to be able to access it through the network, you need to go to the sharing tab. We'll do Windows first. Add a Windows share. Browse your path. Go down to your data set. Click on it, make sure it shows up here. Don't want to use it as the home share. We'll just call it media. We can use the same name. Default permissions. Guest access should be fine since it's just media. Guest access, I don't think allows. Oh, the services tab looks good. Guest access I don't think allows writing, but it does allow reading. I'm not sure about executing. So that's pretty neat. We'll turn on AFP as well, and we'll try to make it work on the Mac here. You can use NFS, rsync, I'm sure a lot of people will use. You always want the smart service on. We want this. This is your critical temp, and 40 Celsius is where I would call the maximum safe limit. You can set it a little bit lower, but this is the point where it'll start to throw errors at you, and you'll get an email or whatever service that you have enabled will just alert you. So you can pick an email here if you want, but you have to set up the email elsewhere. Right now, since we haven't set up any services, the smart report will only stay internal, but power mode. Yeah, okay. The report will only stay internal, and it'll show here like this green light will turn red. The other cool, well not cool, but the other thing you can do with smart is you can check when it checks the drives, and you can set up smart schedule smart tests. So now that we have a share down, go to our network. Hopefully it'll show. Okay, there's the FreeNAS box showing there. We can just map a network drive. We'll do the address 192.168.3.21/media. And finish. There's our media drive. 10 terabytes, just like we quoted it. Now, if you don't use different credentials, it'll only connect as guest. So let's disconnect from here. Map network drive. Connect using different credentials. And then it'll prompt us. Let's try to don't do this, but really you should be setting up user accounts and all that. I'm just going to do a really high, or well, really low level. I don't know. Wait, low level or high level? I'm going to do a high level overview, just really simple. And I'm just going to use the root account just so that you can see writing and reading to it. Type in our root password. Now, hopefully, Linux. Let's download Linux. The first step to storing Linux ISOs is downloading Linux. I mean, if you want to fill up that 10 terabytes, it's got to start somewhere. I mean, this one's like 1.5 gig. That's a pretty good start. So I'll let that download. Let's add an AFP share for Apple File Sharing Protocol. Hello? Maybe I need to configure it first. There we go. So hey, the cat's hacking up a hairball here. Could you come grab him? Okay. Harry, can you grab him? He's right on the other side.
Harry,
You,
come here.
you,
Okay.
okay. Well, anyway, let's make a for AFP. Let's make a time machine drive. So. Make this a Mac share, and we'll quota this at 1 terabyte. So we have our time machine share there. Go to add an Apple share, time machine, and then we can enable time machine there. And if you go to advanced, you can change the default permissions and whatnot. There's FreeNAS is super capable, but anyway, it's, time machine's created. And where's the console in this guy? Is you okay? Alright. There's a lot of different reporting things and graphs in here. See if we can access the time machine share. Move my dude, my cat was straight yakking. Connect to server. Dot 21 slash time machine. Connect is root. I don't think I have. I don't think I have ownership set up correctly. Interesting. Oh. We'll just allow guest access and see if that. Oh. We need to bind to this address in the actual sharing protocol. I don't know if we did this with SMB or if it automatically configured. Wait, if none are specified, all available. Oh, okay. Oh, whatever. So we have our Linux ISO, our media drive. Obviously Linux isn't media, but just copy it over. Oh, you bastard. I feel like Windows doesn't update the permissions like right away, because if I've run into this issue, or if I reboot FreeNAS. Anyway, FreeNAS does take some doing. It takes some learning to get all the permissions sorted out. I'm not too familiar with Linux and Unix style permissions. I was just trying to do a quick, I don't know, like a quick overview, quick start. There's tons of guides out there on getting FreeNAS installed, but the long story short is, it works, it's running. I'm going to see if I can spend a few minutes here and get the right permissions to work, and see if we can get the time machine to work too. Oh, I do want to mirror the boot drive, so I will do that. And for those of you that don't want to use FreeNAS, everything up to installing FreeNAS is what you should do for installing Windows using storage spaces. You should update the BIOS. You should put the SAS controller in IT mode. That way you can use storage spaces with direct drive access. You should do the same thing with Linux, with Ubuntu, if you want to use ZFS on that. Pretty much there's really no reason not to put the controller into IT mode. So yeah, do that. FreeNAS takes a little while to boot. It's helpful to have the monitor plugged in so you can see what it's doing, but usually it just goes, there's just so many lines of text on the screen, and it usually goes pretty quick, so it's kind of hard to get an idea of how long it's going to take or whatever. But mine's been up for a
God, I don't know, weeks without a reboot. FreeNAS by default will not put your hard drives into standby mode. So keep that in mind, but it's a good thing. Hard drives turning on and off again puts a lot of wear on them. It's actually better for them to just keep spinning, especially these enterprise drives that are made for it. All right, looks like we're back. So, in order to make a, I'll think about the permission things for a second. But what we can do in the meantime, we can make a mirrored boot disk, or not disk, boot drive. So you just click on the System tab, click Boot, click Status, and click on FreeNAS Boot. And I just want to make sure that, I don't remember if you attach it to the FreeNAS boot or do you attach it to the stripe itself. Let me just take a double check. Oh, you can do either. So we'll do the FreeNAS. Do this one. And then it'll automatically select a free disk. You can click Attach Disk. Whoa, I missed a lot in chat. Holy shit. Yeah, you use a little bit more power with the drive staying on, but I mean, your drives just won't fail if you just leave them on and you keep them cool enough. I mean, the permission things, it's not too much of an issue. You just really have to set it up right the first time. And I don't think that using the root account is doing me any favors here. But long story short, we'll do the bad thing and just apply everything.
apply write permissions to all. Let's see if that works. I want to see. I just really want to see what kind of speeds we can get writing on this guy. Yeah, that's pretty good. About 66, between 60 and 70 meg a second, 65 meg a second. Okay, so here's what a critical alert looks like. It's just saying that one or more devices is currently being resilvered, which means it's being rebuilt. That was the device that we just added as the boot device. So basically, it's one-for-one copying everything over to the new boot drive. It might take a little bit. This alert should go away at some point, but that's why this thing's flashing red. I mean, sitting idle, we're just using essentially no CPU. Before we look at the Apple thing, I think there's not really a whole lot left, but one of the important things that we should do is set up a scrub. So you click on the storage, you hit scrubs. You can click on your main storage, which is the pool that we added, the array that the array we made, and basically you want to set up a scrub at least once a month. It'll increase your overhead that your system is using, so when you're doing a scrub, it might take 8 to 10 hours to do a scrub. It puts a lot of load on your disks, but overall it will extend the life of your array, your disks. Just keeps your FreeNAS system in good health. So we can set it to like every Sunday, and or what I like to do is do the 1st and the 15th of the month, and I don't care what day of the week it is, but what I'll do is I'll do it starting at 3 in the morning, or like 2:30 in the morning, every month, every day of the week. It doesn't really matter. Enabled, and then I set the threshold to 10 days, so that if the scrub hasn't been done in 10 days, it makes sure that one is done on the next scheduled time. Yeah, and then so you can hit OK. So every time you create an array, it creates a scrub for you, but I would go in and edit the scrub and make sure it's at like convenient times and it's the way you want it. Here you can see your arc size. This will go up to near 12 gig for the system. It'll try to use as much RAM as possible, and then your hit ratio. Or just like what copying a bunch of these would be. Oops. Forgot my control C and control V doesn't work. I think that's pretty solid. We're gonna get hopefully better read speeds than we will write speeds. But for a machine that's this cheap, you know, its baseline's $135. There's not really a whole lot more you can ask for. We should be able to saturate gigabit on the down speed. But this isn't a VM, so I'm kind of questioning whether that's possible or not. I don't know that my VM storage will be able to handle it. Let's copy this back to the desktop. Yeah, there we go. So we're saturating gigabit on the way down. That's what we like to see right there. So that's, I mean, that's literally as good as it gets. And if you're running Plex on a different server, I mean, there's not really much else you can do except for upgrading to 10 gig E. I guess what we could do is we could install the Plex plugin for FreeNAS on here. God, I haven't done this in a really long time, so this is gonna be interesting. Yeah, the alert went away, so I guess it's done resilvering. Here's some of the plugins you can set up. FreeNAS is extremely capable. Plex Media Server. I think that's the latest public version. You could set up your download services on here. You can set up Sonar. I don't think Radar is available. At least not yet. Maybe there's someone that's porting it out there. Transmission. Sick Rage, Sick Beard. I don't know anyone that uses these anymore. SAB. That's cool. OwnCloud is awesome. You basically create your own cloud, and you can use the OwnCloud client when you're away from your network, and upload stuff to your FreeNAS box. Crash Plan. I didn't know Crash Plan was on here. MB, the bad Plex, the dark side. Yeah, so let's install this guy. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get the IPMI to work. Oh wait, I do have the IPMI view installed. Let's try that while this Plex is installing. Oh, you asked about FreeNAS plugins. I didn't intentionally go over them because you asked, but yeah, I think OwnCloud would be cool. BT Sync is kind of like OwnCloud, but it uses BitTorrent to sync files between two computers. Yeah, I know Plex passes in the 1.8s, but I'm not sure what the public version of Plex is right now. Bird of Night asks, is the full FreeBSD kernel available underneath FreeNAS? That's a really good question. I don't know. But I do know that you could use ZFS and like RAID Z through Linux. Am I getting some mic interference? What does it sound like?
Yeah, there's a little scratching.
The scratching was probably the hard drives writing. Because it's on the same table as the hard drives, and they're laying on their sides. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little erratic, so.
Yeah, it's probably the hard drives writing. Let's see. A bit off topic, so feel free to disregard. I'd be interested on your input why you went with FreeNAS versus Windows storage spaces or Unraid or something similar. Unraid isn't free. FreeNAS is free. FreeNAS is better than Unraid if you're using a fixed size hard drives and you're not like you're okay with just adding them as you like, you know, adding 4 at a time of the same size or 6 at a time as you go. I mean, I don't have anything against Unraid. I think that ZFS and RAID Z is better. It's more reliable. But it's kind of half of one and half dozen of one and 6 of the other. I like Windows storage spaces. The problem with storage spaces is the write speed is terrible. But the read speeds are fine, so if you're using it for media, it's not a huge deal. You mentioned updating the BIOS a lot. I don't have any issues. I'm on older BIOS. Should I bother updating? Not necessarily. If you don't have any issues and the BIOS is capable of what you want to do, I wouldn't bother updating. But a lot of these server boards, this one, for example, is pretty gimped out of the box with the like 1.0 BIOS. 1.2 really added a bunch of features that should have been there in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, I just wanted this to be fully updated, everything the right way. Like me personally, I told you, like, I didn't update the BIOS on mine. I'm probably not going to unless I need it for, like, you know, version 2 CPU support, for example, on socket 2011. But right now it's fine, and I don't need to mess with it, and I'd rather just keep it up and not mess with it, honestly. But if I'm building this for someone, I want to do it right the first time. That way they don't have to do any of that. FreeNAS is free. Yeah, I mean, just try it out. If you find that you can do what you need to with it, I think you'll be impressed by the performance and reliability of it. Let me change my mic settings, see if it does anything for us here. Ooh, looks like Plex was installed. You should configure IPMI. Oh, you should figure out IPMI at some point. Yeah. Just assign it an address and then try to get it to work. You know what is storage spaces available for Windows 7? Huh. You know, I have Windows 7 on a drive, and I could boot this thing to Windows 7 and set up storage spaces just to show you how. But I mean, honestly, storage spaces is one of the easiest things. You literally go into Windows, you install storage spaces if it's not already. You just like add the feature or whatever. You select the drives that you want to use, you select the parity option, and you hit create, and then you have a gigantic hard drive with parity, and that's it. So I guess I could do that, but it's one of the simplest things you could do. If you feel more comfortable running Windows, storage spaces with a build like this is totally the way to go. The guy that bought this build wanted FreeNAS, and I did kind of recommend it to him, but I think it would be overall better for his setup. I don't know that. I mean, the one thing with FreeNAS is it serves to all kinds of devices. So if you have a lot of devices that are not just Windows, but you have some Apple computers, you have some Linux boxes or some Unix-based devices, FreeNAS doesn't care so long as you set up the shares correctly and you set up the permissions correctly. Everything will work. And Alan Menn says storage spaces isn't in 7, 8, and later. Okay. Wait. Is this literally what I do? I haven't used the first time, or I guess the last time that I've used. Oh, no way. The last time I used Plex on FreeNAS. Was the first time that I used Plex, and then I used it for a little while, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool," and I liked it. I liked Plex so much that I built a dedicated server for it, and I decided Windows would be better, so I used it on Windows. Oh, everything's through jails. I forgot. So what I'll probably end up doing for this guy is I'll probably end up setting either a Linux VM or a Windows VM through FreeNAS 11 and then doing Plex through there instead of doing it through FreeNAS. I forgot that jails were still a thing in FreeNAS 11, but they're not too much of a pain, and I'm sure they work just fine. 3.2. Yeah, this is going to take